Scrapbook with me while talking about Vocaloid Akari. Kizuna Akari is a Japanese Vocaloid from the Vocaloid 4 era. She is 15 years old and is sort of a counterpart to Yuzuki Yukari. She was developed by a company called Vocalo Markets and is sold by Software. Now, I may be from Boston, but that is actually the name of the company, Vocalo Markets. I parked my car in Vocalo Markets. So Akari is one of the very last Vocaloid 4 voice banks to ever release. I am ignoring the Pia Pro Super Pack right now. But during the Vocaloid 4 era, she was one of the last ones to release. She came out in 2018. Everyone thought she was like Yukari's little sister or something. I think it's more apt to say that the two of them are kind of like a duo. They are both heavily marketed together all the time. Whenever Vocalo Markets does a collaboration, it's usually with both Yukari and Akari. Okay, so backtracking a bit, Yukari is actually based off of the moon, specifically the Japanese rabbit in the moon. Here in the West, we see a man in the moon. In Japan, they see a rabbit, sometimes a crab, in the moon. Akari is based off of starlight and stars. So right now we have the moon and the stars. They should make a third based off of the sun. Anyway, Akari is a one voice bank Vocaloid, and she released in the Vocaloid 4 era. That made her really unique because a lot of Vocaloids in the V4 era came with multiple voice banks. And they did this because of a function called cross-synthesis. Cross-synthesis is a function where you could blend two voice banks together. Now, there were two ways that this was handled. Either a character could only cross-synthesis with itself. For example, Miku V4 Dark could cross-synthesize with Miku V4 Solid, or a Vocaloid could cross-synthesize with any Vocaloid from the same company. The only two companies that allowed cross-synthesis across all characters were Internet Co. and Software. Everyone else could only cross-synthesize with themselves. So basically, Akari could blend with any character from the Vocaloid 3 era and Vocaloid 4 era from Software. She could blend with Nana, Iroha, Yukari, Kyoteru, Miki. I think the only one you couldn't cross-synthesize with was Yuki, which makes sense because she's a very protected Vocaloid. Now, for any Vocaloid released in the V4 era that only had one voice bank, that was not only a flaw, it was a major setback. But because Akari had access to most Vocaloids from Software, she, alongside everyone else from Software, had the most cross-synthesis capabilities. And then Vocaloid 5 happened and they removed cross-synthesis and none of it matters anymore. Akari was really well received when she came out. Between her really cute design, ties to Yuzuki Yukari, the fact that the Vocalo Markets really knows what they're doing when it comes to marketing, Akari did really well. It also helps that Akari came after the time when everyone was trying to recreate the Hasane Miku. Like, by the time Akari entered the ring, Hasane Miku was not the goal, she was the rule. Like, that's just kind of what Vocaloids look like. And after losing a bunch of money, no one was really trying to recreate Miku anymore. They just wanted to make Vocaloids. Akari released with two voice banks on two engines. She had the one voice bank on Vocaloid 4, and she had another voice bank on Voicoroid 2. Voicoroid was a text-to-speech software by AHS. It didn't have anything to do with Vocaloid, it just had a similar name. As a result, Akari debuted with the two designs, which were basically the same design, but one had headphones and boots with the fur, and the other had no headphones and Mary Jane's. Now, the headphones one is actually the Vocaloid design, and it was really smart to debut Akari with the text-to-speech voice bank, because the Japanese really love text-to-speech voice banks. They do voiceovers for Let's Plays and memes and stuff over there. Now, Akari never got another singing voice bank. She only ever got speaking voice banks. Across many different engines, actually. AI voice, Seiren voice, AI voice 2. And each time she got a new design. Akari got 3 voice banks on AI voice, 2 of which were actually younger Akari. There's her Tsubomi voice bank, where she's 10 years old, and then her Moe voice bank, where she's 5 years old. Akari's most recent voice bank is for AI voice 2. They actually reused one of the concept designs they had for Akari. They had a few different hairstyle ideas for her, including a side ponytail and just letting her hair be down with a tiny braid. They ended up using the long-haired version officially for her AI voice 2 voice bank. While I'm at it, here are some other color concepts we had for Akari. I love it when we get color concepts and you can see what palettes they were trying to work with. I love the final design, and I'm glad that one of her concepts got reused officially. So where is Akari now? Well, Vocalo Markets still heavily market her. She goes in tandem with Yukari. Vocalo Markets does a lot of collaboration. For like glasses, for jewelry. Just last week they updated a card game where they added idol versions of Yukari and Akari. It's kind of odd that Akari doesn't have any more singing voice banks besides her Vocaloid 4. Like, Yukari went on the Chevio and Voicona. Okay, but Yukari is also the golden child of Vocalo Market, so to be fair. But still, it makes me think that Akari's text-to-speech voice banks do much better than her singing voice bank does. Akari doesn't really have any popularity in the West, at least not circa 2024. She seems to have a decent following in Japan, which is great because that's the primary market. The primary Vocalo market. Anyway, I love her, she's adorable. Vocaloidal!